All right. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Deconversion Stories. And as you probably know by now, we've dropped the Tuesday show because 2 shows a week is enough considering what we have going on in the rest of our days of the week all the time. So we decided to go for a couple of nights a week instead of the 3, which I got to tell you, it's been a little bit easier on me anyways. I'm now actually have the energy that we need for the show for the 2 days rather than trying to hammer through 3 days a week. And plus we've already gone like 500 episodes. It's well, more than 500 now. So it's time to kind of cut it back a little bit and just take it from there and see how this works out. Today we're talking with our friend Stephanie here, who is an ex-Mormon and promises us that we can have coffee if we need it, because both Mike and I are feeling a little sleepy today because we're both still just getting over the illness that we were fighting all bloody last 2 weeks. So, but we're feeling better. And welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
All the fanfare. Woo! What we do here is we chat with people about how they found their way free from their previous belief systems. And basically, we just let you kind of tell your story. And as we were saying a little bit before we went live, we'll just jump in if we have something we, needs clarification, or we have a question, or if something you mentioned, we'd like, well, you might want to tell the folks out in the audience what that means or what that's about, that kind of thing. Okay.
Makes sense.
So take us back to the days of when you were a believer and what it was like then, and how you started questioning your beliefs and ultimately found your way free.
Yeah, and I did do a little bit of digging. I have only recently learned that Mormons are very uncommon. I'm actually born and raised in the church. I'm from Utah, so I'm used to us being the big deal, and now everyone's like, we have no clue what you're talking about. So I do have resources if there's someone that's confused on, go check these guys. So
So the Lord says, they're the ones with underwear, right?
Yeah.
We go commando here in heaven. Welcome to the show, the Lord. I haven't seen you in the chat before. So
it's the Dark Lord Sauron.
The Dark Lord.
That's the picture. Pull it up again. Yeah, pull it up
it
again.
Is.
It
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
Oh,
it's your Lord and Savior Sauron.
Exactly. There we go.
May he forever rest in ashes.
Yes.
May the precious bear his name.
Precious.
We will swear upon the precious.
All right.
The only Lord of the Rings credit I've got is the movies. I did see the old cartoon, which I need to watch.
Oh, the old animated.
Old, so yeah. But
it was scary.
It was a trip.
That cartoon was intense.
I'm a Stephen King geek, so my level of scary is a bit higher than most. But yeah,
it's funny because once I started like really becoming a skeptic and stuff like that, because I used to want to be a ghost hunter and everything when I was younger, and now that I'm a skeptic and looked into all this stuff, through various sources and whatnot, especially in the world of physics, where they say, well, you can't really have a ghost because what is a ghost, right? What if it was something we could measure, then we'd know about them. So scary movies don't do it for me anymore. I could watch all of them and be like, whatever.
I've heard that
I'm not scared anymore.
Yeah, for me, they were never about the ghosts actually being real as a possibility. For me, like, I had night terrors when I was really, really little. And so those were what terrified me. Those were real to me. Scary stories, like when I was reading Goosebumps as a kid, and then gradually Stephen King, and then gradually more scary movies when I did allow myself to watch rated R stuff.
I was a big Clive Barker fan back in the day.
Yeah, for me, it was more like fantasy to me. It was closer to sci-fi. It was more of just make-believe. I was able to enjoy it with just as if it was all playing pretend, like every other story. So I never lost that enjoyment of it.
What did Clive Barker make?
Oh, jeez.
Oh shit, Candyman,
Nope.
Hellraiser.
Nope.
You don't.
Then
You never
plug
seen that?
me.
Nope. Too scary. Nope.
Oh, there's lots of stuff that he's done. Books of Blood.
He's been busy.
Yeah. Like I read the books, like in Magica and stuff like that, right? So.
The Midnight Meat Train was one of his.
Midnight Meat Train, yeah, which is actually from the Books of Blood.
Never heard of it.
The Plague. Yeah, he's been Hellraiser's one of his biggest for sure.
Yeah. That's what the pinhead, right? Pinhead guy. Yeah. I was like,
yep.
Oh, I am now watching that.
Oh my gosh, the new one. Have you seen the new one?
Not watching that.
The new Hellraiser? I have not.
Yeah, they did a remake, but they're beautiful. Like they're androgynous, like they're gorgeous. They've got this weird
I saw that.
Like morbid beauty to them. I loved watching that one. It was so cool. But yeah, well, and I get it. Like I'm so good at tangents, so we're like what, almost 8 minutes in, and we haven't even gotten to what was going on.
I could summon them if you want. Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh man, to get to the fucking Hellraiser, you got to solve a Rubik's Cube with no colors on it. Oh, that's impossible.
And there will be blood.
It's not really a Rubik's Cube there, buddy. You gotta unlock it. So you gotta unlock the puzzle.
Oh,
unlock
baby
it like,
Jesus! It's one of those.
Oh my gosh, it actually works.
And then turn it like that.
It's one of those trick puzzles.
You see?
I love that kind of stuff.
Wasn't expensive either. It's not like a really good one, but it's got some weight to it. It's pretty awesome though. Anyway,
fantastic.
Back to the story.
Anyway, yeah, maybe in the hangout I can give you guys a tour of all my Stephen King stuff. So
there you go.
That's my big collection. I know you got your Legos. That's my thing.
I have a few. Hang on. I just got this guy the other day. Oh, you can't even see him right now. Oh well. I'll grab.
But yeah,
it's up the day after Halloween, so.
Oh! My dog won a Zorro this year. It was so fun. Or Zero. My kid win a Zorro. My dog win a Zero.
Awesome.
But,
all right.
Yeah, so there's actually this is the second time I've gotten to tell my story. Labor Day, I actually did one of the RFR X talks, the Recovering from Religion ones. And I'd heard of you from one of the fundraisers that was done for them. So
yeah, one of the ones I was involved in, I guess.
A little bit, yeah. So it was like not this most recent one, but the year before when I was still relatively new to breaking away, like officially fully breaking away. And it's like, you know what? Maybe one day I get ready, I'll get a hold of him, tell my story. And so RFR was the ones that helped me first, and so they got the first scoop kind of deal. Just they kind of earned that, but they. So yeah, it's okay not being my first, but you get some of the more juicy like afterward stuff. The podcast version of my RFR talk is supposed to be coming out any time now, and then the video version is going to take a little bit longer, but it should be coming out soon too. So I'm going to go over some of the same things. I'm going to try not to repeat everything. But there's definitely some things that are going to overlap. So in case I'm leaving anything out, that's probably why. But if we do have enough time, I do have some games that we can play to go into some more of my stories.
Games?
And not in like the Saw version either. Like the happy.
I don't know, man. You've been telling me about
my eye to get a key or something.
You know, I love Stephen King and Hellraiser. Care to play a game, Mikey?
Oh my gosh. My husband was debating me on if
for real.
Yeah, we were debating on if Jigsaw is a psychopath. I have more empathy towards the guy. he's like, "You're crazy,"
Hey,
and
that says something about you. You should stop telling people that out loud.
I know
You
it's
know, Jigsaw wasn't all bad. Don't say that to nobody else. We won't tell nobody.
But
Stays
yeah,
between
so,
these three walls.
because it's tricky. Like, so I'm 38 now, just barely turned 38 this last month.
Oh, me
I
too. I turned
was
57.
57 with yeah.
He's on the anniversary of his 38th.
You're 38 with 19 years experience, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's a prestige, 19th prestige,
Yes.
38-year-old.
But with all of that time, the tricky part was trying to figure out how to tell my story within like an hour. And I pushed it on them. Like, we had to go a little bit overtime to get as much as we did. So it was impressive. That's why I decided to put together a game to kind of let the host kind of roll a digital dice and decide what topic I would go into next.
Digital? How dare you?
Yeah, just a cheap
I
little
have
digital dice.
polyhedral dice. How dare you tell me not to?
No,
I will roll a D8 if necessary.
That's how I came up with the idea, because my husband, my kids, like a bunch of my family members, they play Magic the Gathering, they play D&D, and so I've got a whole bunch of multi-sided dice all over the house that I will trip on. Yeah. Oh, they got, all that stuff. So it was a few days before I was doing the RFRX talk, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? And that came to mind. So yeah, if we do manage to get enough time, I've got the ways to play the game. So, but
I think that is great for the after party, because then I don't have to think of anything, and that is perfect.
Exactly. It made things really easy for everybody.
We're gonna hand you the host reel, and you get the microphone that's real skinny, and you can stand on the front of the stage, and me and Neil will get in the audience and fucking just clap.
Woo!
Lower.
Yeah.
So as a Mormon, like, does that mean like public school, or did you have a Mormon school? Like, what did like the beginning years kind of start off as?
Yeah, so there aren't really, it's not like Catholic school. There's the closest that we would get is you can go to what's called seminary, where it's basically like Sunday school, only 2 to 5 days a week, depending on where you live. Yeah, Utah, you could do it every single day. None of it went towards any of your like high school credits, but you could get a period off of classes to be able to go. And usually in Utah, there's one across the street from every high school that the kids would just go to. It's not on school grounds, so they could get away with it. But there was no questioning it because it's Utah. Like, it's crazy. So I actually did go to seminary classes a couple of years in a row. It was so yeah, I was born and raised into it, and I like peak Mormon Stephanie was like 15 years old, like 12, 13, 14, 15. That was the concentrated version where I was full on believer. Like, you've always got the people that say, well, you never actually believed, you weren't a true Mormon. No, I got receipts. Like, I got pictures. I still actually have my full set of scriptures with my name. Yeah, I got evidence. So
I have my homework from Sunday school that's proof it is graded and time stamped.
You don't even know.
Signed by a notary.
You think it's
man.
Let's see. Here. This is yeah, still got the reading assignments from
your
class.
homework.
Yeah, still got those little things to read out with my name on it. Like,
I hate that.
Yeah, read all the begats and don't fall asleep.
My
exactly.
Goodness.
But
I was like, what if his name was Begat and I missed it? Oh shit, where was I? No.
No. Begat.
And
Begat.
I would be that parent.
Begat Junior.
Just for fun. Just name their kid Begat. Just to
Begat the third.
That'd be a great family tradition to pass on.
The Begats. Maybe that'll be like my religious family animated show.
Ooh, let's do it.
The
Begats?
Begats. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
my
a
Lord.
biblical name.
Oh my gosh, I could just picture it. And it's got to be on like, oh, what is it? Adult Swim or something too.
Mm-hmm.
Has
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
McKinnon, get at me. We'll get this working.
it did take a while for like, because when you're as embedded in it all, like I have pioneer heritage from like within the first 10 years of the church starting. I actually thought it was kind of funny that you guys are in Canada because my dad's side of the family.
I'm in Canada. He's not in Canada.
Yeah. So with the Canada connection,
He
when my
wishes.
dad's family had immigrated, they ended up over in Toronto, what would become Toronto, and
The good side of Canada, yeah.
Yeah, so that's when they got to meet some of the very
leaving.
old, like major church leaders. Like if you hear the name Parley P. Pratt in Mormonism, you know who that is. Those were the guys that baptized
know that
my
name.
family. Yeah. So that's how deep my roots go. And so
Wow.
that's one reason why it was so hard, because it wasn't just the local culture, it wasn't just the state culture, it was that much of my family. And my dad's one of 7 kids. There's about 80 of living members of us, just from including those kids and my grandma, and then all of their descendants and my cousins and their kids. So, and the majority of us are still active believing members of the church. So there wasn't a
Has
whole lot
anyone else in your family fallen away from it like you have?
I know. So my baby brother, once he hit 8 years old, he started to see immediately through it. But at that point, it was a time when my mom wasn't actively going to church. And so he was in a spot that was more lax and had that option of questioning much sooner than me and my brother did. But he also didn't have it as reinforced on his dad's end like I did. So it was a total 9-day difference. I know of at least one cousin on my dad's side, and when he left, oh my gosh, the drama. Like, it was absolutely crazy. I don't know how many of us are non-believers and are just sticking around for various reasons.
Suspect there might be?
Oh, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
one of the things that comes up is people will remain members of the church, and this was something that I did too, because the way that it works as far as Mormonism, it's not just heaven or hell. There's, or even purgatory like Catholics have. There's, you've got the different levels of heaven. The lowest level of heaven is closer to hell. Like basically that's where Hitler's going. And yes, Hitler got baptized into the Mormon church. So
they're going to send them to the 40s?
There, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Apparently,
there's some craziness.
Pratt keeps trying to get in there, but they just turn the lights off and pretend they're not home.
Run away. Like,
Close the blind, close the blind, close the blind.
you don't want P cubed. You don't want P cubed. Dude's nuts. But
P cubed.
but
I like
yeah, it was. So there's lowest level of heaven, and a lot of us figure, okay, if we at least stay in the church, we'll at least be there. Our family who might be in higher levels of the church can still come visit us. Not levels of the church, levels of heaven, they can still come visit us, come like make sure we're okay. We can't go up to higher levels, but we can be with other people too. Because the other option is once you leave the church, that's a direct ticket to what's
The
worse than
40s.
hell.
Right.
Worse than that.
The
It's
basement.
Worse. It's basically called outer darkness. And it's
Oh,
It's a
essentially
good
like
band name.
I know, but there's
Neil, we're going to workshop that name, Outer Darkness.
but it's essentially like eternal solitary confinement. You don't get to
Doesn't sound so
contact
bad.
anybody else.
Doesn't sound so bad. How long I get to stay in there? Forever? Finally finish a book.
Do we at least get like, you know, like some apps so we can watch stuff? Or
Oh, do I have Crunchyroll? Because that could be,
Yeah.
you know, if I can get Crunchyroll, yeah, you can totally
Let's
just
go.
stick me anywhere. I don't even care.
Yeah,
I
like
don't even
like
care.
local pandemic 2020 levels.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And I mean, technically, it has to be like hell. So, like, make the ceiling like 9 foot instead of 10 foot. Whoa! I'm hating this. Boy, I hate this. Keep the Wi-Fi going there, yeah. I got
And the way that it was basically marketed to me as a kid, it was the worst thing in the world. Like, one of the sayings was, you would commit suicide in order to get to the lowest level of heaven because it was that much better. And so, yeah,
Wow.
it was
So there's
that
no Crunchyroll.
scary. Yeah, no Crunchyroll, and you have to pay for all of YouTube and still get ads. Still get ads every 30 seconds. You're paying twice as much, and
that's what it is. That I have to watch it come out of my account and then watch the ads. Like, that's not fair. That's not fair.
That level of torture.
That's
like,
what makes it hell.
It's like the 12th level of hell that Mormons come up with. It's crazy.
The outer darkness.
They ripped the shit.
Paying for premium content, but still getting pop-up ads.
So
it sounds like they stole all this shit from Dante.
No,
Catholics
him
stole
up
from Dante.
No,
I did finish reading all of Inferno. That was one thing I decided to do with my time while I was going through my first cancer diagnosis run, which is actually what triggered a lot of this. I saw someone was asking me like why I left, and that was the big one. But basically, so when I was ready to be done with Mormonism, there was only one person I wanted to tell first, and that was my mom. So in the records of the church, it will track if you're sealed to somebody, which means you are connected with them for eternity. You don't lose your family. That's what allows other people to visit their family in the other levels of heaven. So is that sealing, that connection? But I'm also sealed to my uncle. It's a long story. I, like Jerry Springer, made my family feel normal. But yeah, so I was sealed to my uncle, who I could care less about, but I was also sealed to my mom. And the idea of losing the connection with my mom was one of the reasons I stayed for so long. And so if this is also one of the reasons Mormons are obsessed with genealogy, is they use those family trees to baptize their dead family members to get those connections made.
Oh, after the fact?
Yes, that's which
like posthumously, granting heavenship.
Yeah, which peak Mormon me loved doing. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. That was my favorite part of being a teenager, was I got to help do that. So, like, I
get out of hell free card.
Yeah, it gives them the option to accept the baptism or not, and then go from there. Which, yeah, that's part of the whole. Was it Occam's razor? Was that the guy?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Not Occam's razor. What am I thinking?
Oh, you mean oh, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah, where he takes a bet.
Oh, yeah. Pascal's wager.
That's the one. Yeah. Thank you. Chemo brain is still kicking in, so
I couldn't get off of Occam. I was like, Occam.
Yeah, so one game that I play lately.
Come again on my own.
Oh, we got to do karaoke. Tell me you guys do karaoke at the Hangouts, because I'm so in.
Well, we haven't. I've done karaoke at some of the atheist get-togethers.
Nice.
Like one of them, and I did a song. I'm like, no one will know this. Nobody knew it. Of course, nice. I did because it was a Canadian band called Tragically Hip, and I did New Orleans is Sinking. So, and it was really good.
Yeah. So when nice. But yeah, so it was telling her first was the one thing I wanted to do, but I was terrified because with my mom, like, we can be really close, really upfront with each other, or we can clash like mad. And so a lot of times we have to be more neutral on topics. And I was really worried that she would not handle this well because she is still a believer. So this is when I got in contact with Recovering from Religion. They gave me some tips and let me into their community so that I could keep kind of building from this. So I called her up, and she thought it was because of my beliefs as far as how the church was handling LGBT people, which they're not handling them well. And I can still confirm from a few weeks ago that the biggest guy in charge of the church is still saying that they are not supporting them blatantly. So, but I explained it was actually that and more. Like I said, the RFR talk that I gave can go into more of those details. The game I play later, I can go into more of those details. But it was really kind of funny because she told me, you don't have to make a decision right now. You can still give it some time and think it over. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But I almost lost that option. Yeah. So, because in March 2021, I was going through chemo. When the pandemic hit, my body got bored and decided, with all the concerts I couldn't go to, it sounds fun. Let's try colon cancer. That was my pandemic hobby that I developed.
Colon cancer.
No, I would have went with like crochet instead.
Oh yeah, like I was planning on picking up some more of my knitting and other craft supplies that I do, but no, my body had other ideas.
A new hot glue gun.
Yeah, which I was 34, so trying to figure out, like, just trying to get the treatment was, it's a good thing I had a good physician who knew what was going on and knew the hoops I'd have to jump. But yeah, it was insane. And dealing with all that during a pandemic was not something I recommend. But in March the next year, 2021, there were some severe complications that led to 2 cardiac arrests from a blood clot. Oh. I had to be put in a medical coma. I had to be put on ice to prevent brain damage. And I did nearly die. Actually, technically, I died twice.
Oh, shit.
But I shouldn't have survived. Like, as far as the general statistics, the odds of it, it was really, I just chalk it up to I'm too stubborn. You can't get rid of me that easy. But
nature tried.
Yeah, they tried. I don't know if I had a near-death experience, and so because I don't have a memory of that entire week afterwards. The only reason I know what happened is the medical notes from the doctors and my husband's accounts and other family members' accounts, and that's it. I still don't know what happened the whole time. All I know is...
Well, you died and then you were risen. So
that too, yeah. So take that, Jesus. I got to do it twice. What you gonna do?
Just half-assing it. Basically. You know what I mean? Only one resurrection.
But yeah, so with that, I'm like, yeah, Mom, I could still have time, but I learned from there I'm not always going to get to have that time. So that's why I made the decision now. I basically Marie Kondo'd my life, and some people have gotten rid of their husbands. Some people got better jobs. I got rid of my religion after reading that book. It was the weirdest thing. But yeah, she handled it relatively well. She doesn't want to talk religion with me, but
wonder why.
She hasn't cut me off. We're still very close with each other.
That's good.
There's a few people that know officially that I've left, but most of my dad's family doesn't officially know that I know of. There's some older family members, like my grandma, who's really struggling. I don't know why she's still alive. She's in a rough state, so I don't want to let her know. I do want to give her the idea she is going to be able to see me. So if someone tells her, I will be ticked at them. Like they will, ooh, it won't be pretty.
Yeah, you got to pick your battles, right? So
yeah, that one,
and
they
she
don't want to
doesn't
pick
need to
that
know.
battle with me. It'd be ugly. But yeah, as of May this year, I'm officially got the paperwork submitted and documented and officially no longer a member of the church. So yeah, it's been really nice. Like I've no longer have any belief in any God, any version of eternity. I'm living with the awareness that this is the only life I'm getting. I was lucky enough to get a second and third chance that I survived to this point, and I'm just taking full advantage of it. I'm no longer playing the, well, I don't know if we should do this because what if?
Look at it this way. The chance of you even being here to start with, myself and Mikey included, you got to think of the millions of sperm cells that came out of, where they come from.
Mhm.
And the one that just happened to get in that eggshell or in that egg and start creating you is like, we're talking like 1 in billions chances of this happening. And of course that had to happen to your parents too, and then their parents too, right? So the chances of us even being here is astronomically huge anyways.
Yep. And I already was a whoops baby, so on top of that.
Me too.
That's called surprise.
Yeah, that was
just pop right out and go, hi!
that extra little, oh wait, that wasn't supposed to. So yeah, there were a lot of factors that led up to me, so I'm just enjoying just being here and all the weird things that happened to get to this point. As far as between the RFRX talk and today, there were some crazy things that happened. So shortly after those cardiac arrests, about a month later, they ran some more blood tests after I'd recovered. The blood results showed there was no evidence of cancer. They gave me no evidence of disease status, which a lot of people know as remission. And we celebrated, and I just did all this crazy stuff, like going to all these concerts I never would have gone to. I saw System of a Down, which I never thought would ever happen. So basically, like,
dudes.
Yeah, like 2004, 2005, Stephanie has been losing her minds with all the bands I've gotten to go see. That before I would have been like, I don't know if we can afford it. I've been like, let's go, let's do this. I'm still here.
Fuck it.
So
Let's go.
Yeah, I since got my my very first tattoo at that show because that was the 7th time I'd gotten to see the Deftones, my favorite band. Which you're not supposed to do it as a Mormon.
Chino is a shiny golden god.
Chino's voice is orgasmic.
That's for you, by the way, from Fern.
There is no better way to describe his voice.
One part angel, one part demon.
Mm-hmm. The song Elite. Oh, they played Elite at the last show, and I lost my mind. It was gorgeous.
Did you see that, by the way?
Which one?
Can you see these?
Yeah, the chat. Thank you, guys. I'm glad to be alive. Oh, there wasn't even any condom with me, John. So your parents tried. I haven't read Holly yet. I need to add it to my collection. But I've read all but the first part of that series. So it's on my list. It's definitely there. But yeah, it's between the RFRX talk, which was September 4th, and today, at that point, my biggest priorities, I was working on mapping my family history on Ancestry.com and kind of getting an idea on where like my own roots in Mormonism actually started. I've been listening to the Naked Mormonism podcast that Bryce Blankenagel does, which is the best resource to me, like for actually doing deep dives. Because the history that I was taught was the shiny version that got polished up and is just PR. And
spin.
Yeah, his is so much fun. There's moments that I've been angry. There's moments I have laughed my head off. And it's
Bryce is good too.
wonderful. Oh, he's fantastic. I got to like send him a heads up. Hey, I'm no longer part of the church. And it was great. So he called me Mormon royalty one day. And I was like, nah, Burger King crowns have more value than the one I got. So
I have one of those somewhere.
Burger King crown?
Yeah, I think it's in my car somewhere.
Okay. I love that. But yeah, so that was my biggest priority. That was my main project at the time. But just before then, I had my routine CT scans just to kind of follow up and make sure everything was still good. That was on August 18th. Still no evidence in the CT scan or my blood tests. But around that time, my anxiety was super high with the cancer. We'd lost one of our friends in July. One of my cancer survivor buddies, we had a lot going on. One of us we lost in July. One that's closest to me, hers had spread to her brain. One of our friends, his had returned. There just was so much going on. And all I could think was, I'm next. Mine's coming up next. It's going to be me again. And I already deal with major depression disorder. So my anxiety is something I already got to battle. But yeah, they'd done the blood tests, they did the CT, and I also was due for follow-up colonoscopy and endoscopy. All of those, nothing was indicated that there was anything wrong.
That's good.
But my anxiety, I blurted out what was going on, and I remembered vaguely that my blood tests were never an indication before that something was wrong, even when I had a 13-inch long tumor in my intestines.
Yowzer.
So, yeah, it was, but thankfully I've got an awesome oncologist. He latched onto that and saw that there was a lymph node he'd been watching that was tiny bit bigger, and he did a PET scan, which basically they send radioactive blood sugar through your system, which is also a great punk rock band name. Or radioactive sugar water, rather. And after that, like the next day, we got confirmation that lymph node sucked up a whole chunk of that sugar water and lit up on the scan, and we confirmed it was back. And it had moved. It went, instead of my colon, it went up to a lymph node in my trachea. So thankfully we caught it. Thankfully my anxiety and my paranoia led to it, because if we'd waited much longer where I would have gotten symptoms, it could have gotten to my voice box, which I would have been ticked because I'd been singing since before I could talk. So
I got one of those upstairs. She's doing a lot of singing before she knows how to talk.
Yeah.
Mostly singing the pterodactyl favorites that everybody's come to know and love, but
nice. Yeah, I've got vague memories of being in the back seat of the car and just trying to imitate the sounds on the radio. But yeah, so thankfully we caught it. Since then, I'm now finishing up the 3rd cycle of chemo. And Monday, I start round 4. And this time it's been night and day difference. Like, we know what does not work. We know what sends me down. Horrible results. And so everything that we've been doing this round is totally different. It's been great. But yeah, there's definitely some differences that I've noticed as far as when I was previously going through cancer and treatment. I still was a believer in a lot of it. I'd had a lot of doubts, but I'd kind of written off the church in general, but not the actual religion, if that makes sense.
Yeah. You got rid of the institution, you just kept the belief system.
Yeah, and I wasn't yet ready to officially leave, but after all of that happened, there was some homework assignments a therapist gave me when I was recovering from the cardiac arrest. And the assignment was basically, well, what do you think happened during that week that you don't remember? And I was like, wait a minute, I got to go backwards. What do I believe in general? And that's when I realized I have no belief in God at all. Why am I still hanging on to this church, let alone this God, like, or anything tied to it. So that's when I've realized I'm full on atheist, like, and so I'm
Good for you.
agnostic atheist, but I'm Gnostic ex-Mormon. I know for sure that church is absolutely false, and it's such a good feeling to finally get that absolute awareness. It's great. But there's definitely been some differences on lately how I'm doing it.
I'm sorry, guys. I just can't stand that term, agnostic atheist. I think you're an atheist. You don't need to throw the agnostic bullshit in there.
And I get it, but there's
right.
If I do get some kind of evidence, okay, fine. Like, give me some actual
then you're not an
concrete
atheist
evidence. Then we'll see.
You don't need the agnostic part. It's too much. It's like, who cares?
Generally, I don't use it, but there are some
But
people.
Neil, there could be a dimension that I don't know about, and that has a God in it. I don't know if there's a dimension with gods in it, so I'm an.
Does it matter to you?
It's not even a dimension. It's a different level of the Dark Tower.
Dimension. I hate that whole.
The dark. What was it?
Parallel universe with a deity, maybe.
Kinda.
But who gives a shit?
I believe in Homelander.
That's exactly what I am. Fern is agnostic, not agnostic. I'm an atheist. Yes. An atheist is a person that believes that the whole discussion of whether or not there's a God is meaningless because you can't get anything that's other than ambiguous answers to what God is.
Yeah.
Because nobody can give you a confirmed. Well, God is this, this, and this, because everyone's got their own fucking idea of what God is, right?
So. Yeah. And for me, it's like a 99.5%. I know that there's no such thing.
No, so I'm one of those fucking dickheads that goes, there are no gods.
You're 130.
I don't care. Yeah.
I'll say I'll go 100%, and if I'm wrong, I'll change my mind.
But
until I see something to change my mind, I'm 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Mormonism stuff, though, I'm 100%. I know it's not real. So that's really a nice thing to get to.
All religions are scams, if you ask me, but that's all right.
Dude, Mormonism.
I think God is a scam too. God is a scam. People don't be a victim.
Ours is like a full-on, like, multi-level marketing, and they even can take it a bit more, because the multi-level marketing thing, they have a product that they can sell you that you can hold on to. But theirs is a full-on
the magic underwear, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you can buy the magic underwear, but maybe that's the product they sell. That's what, but yeah, it's absolutely, that's, someone pointed that out to me, and now I can't unsee it. It is an MLM. But it's been kind of interesting. Like, one of the big differences, because I did nearly die, is the way I'm handling my own mortality. Like, it wasn't even on my mind the first time. I was thinking, I've survived weird stuff before. I'll make it. This is just a temporary test. I can handle this. But now, within 2 weeks after hearing the new diagnosis, I set up funeral and burial arrangements. I put together a full, detailed advance directive. I've got a will that I've started. I have a burial plot. Like, I have everything in place. I've already know what worst case scenario looks like. And one of the things that I realized after I'd survived and got a reminder of what Mormon funerals typically look like, we did have a really close family friend pass away from COVID. And it took so long that by the time everything had calmed down, I was able to go to her funeral. And I realized, wait a minute, if I didn't make it, this is what was going to happen to me. They were going to have my services in a church, and all of this nonsense, like talking about how they'd see me and what they thought I believed. And they just all these little things that I would not have wanted. And I didn't have anything in writing to make it very clear I wanted none of that. So that's why this was so important to me, that when I got the news that I have all of that in writing. Like that was it happened so quick that my family and my husband, they probably still have whiplash from it. So, but yeah, but this year it's also been really nice because, well, we're not dealing with a major pandemic the same way that we were in 2021. So
Correct.
I can get more help. My husband can get more resources. He can actually go and be a normal human being and hang out with his friends. Where the only option that we had was playing games on Xbox, which Call of Duty Zombies has a very, very special place in our hearts, because that was a lot of how he would hang out with his friends. And that's how we survived.
Fetch me their souls.
The song and the Easter egg that you unlock in the Call of Duty, like this is the Cold War one.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, it was. Yeah, we still sing that. It brings us to tears.
Let me tell you, Neil. Leave it to Call of Duty to take the most obvious thing: survive the zombies. Really, Zero? I've been listening this whole time. I had something to say, and now you want to bark. Come here. Come here.
Of course.
But leave it to Call of Duty to take something so simple as don't get bit by a zombie and turn it into a thing where you got to catch a bus. You got to assemble a bunch of gizmos and gadgets. There's jumping puzzles. You got to kill shit in the right order. I'm like, can I just shoot stuff? What happened here? I got to fucking be a neurophysicist just to get through this shit.
It's so much fun, but there's so much, like,
that's just me.
You connect with your friends through that, but like all the craziness you got to do and all the hoops you got to jump through, the
trauma that the game
there's trauma.
Through.
There's a reason, like, it makes my husband cry. Like, he called up his friends one day. He's like, I heard the song that we unlocked, and it just made me remember how much you guys helped us. And I was trying not to cry too, because I did the same thing.
It's like raids back in the day.
Yeah, that game was special. But now he can just go hang out at their house, and I can get rid of him for a minute and just chill out with my RFR friends. And it's awesome. And like,
get out of here.
Yeah, like if he wants to go hang out, he insists that someone stay with me. And so he's got something, he's going to go hang out with his friends next week. And I've got my baby brother who's going to come hang out with me. It's great. It's not a big deal anymore. So I love that part. But one big difference is now, if somebody says they're praying for me or something along those lines, which in Mormonism, a lot of people will take somebody's name to the temple, and the people that work at the temple will pray over those list of names, and the people that bring those names to the temple think that they're actually doing something for that person. And it bothers me because it doesn't do anything. It's not real. I get that it makes them feel better, but instead of what I've gotten the guts to do lately is say, hey, I appreciate that, but there's actually a list of supplies we kind of need right now. Here's other ways that you can help if you want to come hang out with me, spend some time. Stuff like that. Like, here's other meaningful things that would make a difference.
I thought about it for a long time though.
Right? Yeah, it's like, I see your thoughts and prayers, and I raise you actually doing something.
I raise you physical labor.
Or just like send a gift card so we can get groceries. Like, that's it. Even $5.
Grocery store gift card, much better than thoughts and prayers. We'll take that every time.
It does not.
Yeah.
So, like, buy me one of the new Stephen King books. That's even better. That way I've got something to do in my spare time.
Yeah. And I like how Beck just shared my Lego addiction.
Yes.
Wish list link. Yeah. Nobody looked at that for my birthday. Bastards.
Oh.
Anyway.
Yeah. Jerks. But
Oh, Mikey's got to go play daddy.
it's been an adventure with. Yeah. What does he have? Like what creature? I know it's a dog, but what kind? Like I've got.
It's a little white fluffy mutt thing.
I got the
pug.
pug.
But he also has a daughter. So.
Oh, that actually being a father, not just.
Yeah.
Okay, not just a.
He has a little daughter, Kira.
I get it. That's cool. I'm an auntie.
Uncle Neil.
I got 2 stepboys. I'm an auntie to. Oh, how many kids? I know there's less than 10. But yeah, my kids they're pretty cool. They've gotten to the point they're like 10 and 11 years old now. They're required to go to church when they're with us. Like,
wow.
It's Utah. In the divorce decree, it's written in there. A judge signed off on it. My husband was not in any kind of state to fight against it. He was barely living with everything that was going on, so he just wanted to get it all over with. But yeah, we legally have to take them to church. I stopped going because it hurts so much. Just the cognitive dissonance. I would cry during the songs, which I used to love to sing, and I couldn't handle it anymore. So I stopped going years ago with them. But now we're at a point where I'll talk with them about, hey, what did you guys hear at church? Like, what's going on with the LDS church? We have what's called conference twice a year, where they do all these big talks for a whole weekend, and the next 6 months that dictates what the believers do.
Right.
And this last one a few weeks ago, it was bothering me so bad. But this is basically, so the president of the church, the biggest guy in charge that has the final say, the one you're supposed to always listen to and never question, he blatantly said, do not take advice from any non-believer. And not just like, don't change.
Said that to your kids?
He said that to everybody.
Oh, okay.
Every single believer, every single member of the church who was watching conference, that was part of his message. Do not take advice from any non-believer. Not just, don't be careful about changing your beliefs for a non-believer or because of a non-believer. Don't take any advice, which is so dangerous. And so I did sit with my kids and kind of talk with them this was a 20-minute talk that we pulled up on YouTube later, but it took an hour and a half, like breaking everything down because they had questions. The oldest one, he comes up with the greatest questions. I have to keep a list and do some research to come back and be like, okay, we're watching this video. This is what I found out. I love him for his questions, but they had so many things. They're like, wait a minute, that makes no sense. Why did he say that? So I love that I'm at a point where, yes, I'm the stepmom, but I can be one of the people that gets to do that with them. Because just like when I was a kid, there weren't a lot of adults that were comfortable talking with me about real things. Like, and it drove me crazy. But there were a couple of people that were, and that's the kind of parent, that's the kind of adult I've always wanted to be to my kids. And the hard part, there's a fine line between what I can do as a stepmom and what their mom will fight me on, because I do have to be kind of careful.
Yeah, I suppose.
That's the hard part.
That's horrible advice to give people, by the way. Don't listen to people that don't believe.
It's dangerous.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's not just, it's absolutely dangerous to do that. And like, I've personally experienced times where it did lead me to horrible situations that, had I been given more information beforehand, I would have been able to avoid, or I would have been able to go to somebody for help.
Yeah.
But in Mormonism, it's a lot like a lot of other religions, especially Jehovah's Witnesses. You don't question the people in charge. If you do, you're pushing apostasy. And if they say something, an answer like, well, the prophet knows better, then you can't question that.
Well,
Aha,
sure you can.
Checkmate.
Sure you fucking can. Who
but
says you can't?
You get in trouble.
Prophet.
You get kicked out of the church.
The prophet says you can't question the prophet.
Oh, well.
Which
but makes perfect sense.
And a lot of people are like, well, why does that matter? Because if you are a strong believer in the church and someone suddenly cuts you off, like I said, if you are no longer a member, you lose that ceiling to your family. It's almost like a spiritual execution. And on top of that, it comes with
whatever that fucking means.
Yeah, it's like a death. It's almost like a death sentence. And it also comes with a lot of shame, which a lot of us already deal with shame from the time where we're little kids. I watched the interview that you had with ex-Mormon, like 6-7 months ago? And that was something that came up a lot for was this sense of shame. And he wasn't kidding. That's a constant thing.
Well, can't have you walking around with high self-esteem.
Yeah, it was...
You'll wander off and never come back.
And it was something that I dealt with. Like, I, for years, thought, okay, I'd done something when I lived in Phoenix, when I was trying to be an adult on my own for the first time to go to school. And it made it so that I was not worthy of going to the temple. And I screwed up my chance to be married in the temple, which was my goal because my mom didn't do that. And that's why a lot of things went wrong. And that's what was going on in my head, was all of this shame that because I was not good enough to go to the temple, I was screwing up. I was not going to get to be with my family for eternity like I was planning on as a teenager. I felt like I was letting down 15-year-old me. But now I know better. I don't have that shame. I don't have that guilt. Instead, I've been learning what actually happens in the temple. I've been learning the nonsense about the stupid underwear. And those symbols are just stolen from Masonic rituals. And it's all crazy. Like, my favorite thing that I learned is one of the covenants, commitments, promises that you make is that you will not have loud laughter.
Oh, hell no.
And you think I'm kidding, but this is an actual thing. Nah. And so what you've heard me.
All demons. That's why they didn't let black people in until the 90s after they got all that
78. Yeah, they still had people that were super messed up about getting a black bishop, like someone in charge of the congregation. People would move to they'd go to a different congregation because that happened in the 90s.
Black folks were on one movie for one Mormon dude. He was like, that is it. No, never again. And also loud laughter.
Yeah.
Gotta do something about the loud laughter.
My sister witnessed that happening, and I was like, oh my God. I want to say I'm shocked, but I'm not. Like, it makes sense. But yeah, it was and you've heard me. I have a messed up sense of humor. Like, people don't say when they got their diagnosis, yeah, I was torn up, it sucked. I joke around about it. When I heard that I was in the hospital for a week from the cardiac arrest, I joked around about getting a vacation and having like food just brought to me as I wanted and all these people just waiting on me hand and foot.
We're going to have you're actually going to have to make up that week of work. So I'll be putting you on 16-hour days for the next 2 weeks.
I'm going to need you to come in and do those TP reports.
That'll be great.
I did get to have my Office Space moment. There was a bathroom scale at my job that I stole that was super broken. They finally replaced it.
Cops might be watching. Careful what you say. What are you doing?
Yeah, no, I snuck it out to the car.
Borrowed.
It was so satisfactory. We have one of those break things, like buildings that you can just take stuff and they like clean it for you. Yes, we have one of those finally. And I took a sledgehammer to that thing, and it was so cathartic. So highly recommend that for therapy for anybody.
I just saw a video of
I just
that.
do that in my roommate's room.
Yeah, don't do it in your own room. That would be stupid.
no.
Yeah, no, these guys
But
clean
their
up
room's
for
right
you.
next-
It's great.
His roommates do too.
It's like a pile of broken TVs out on the balcony.
big heap of smashed in plasma.
We go, what's with all the TVs? Go, oh, we got this psychotic little sledgehammer in the house. It just goes running around smashing everything.
It's got
It's
little
just
sledgehammer legs.
It's possessed by a demon. So
Yeah, like you've seen that guy that puts the arms on birds. Like he's doing that to the sledgehammer. I don't know how.
oh, those things are hilarious, man.
I love those the emus that were chasing people.
Yeah. It draws little thick arms on everyone. Yeah, oh,
They're so good.
The peacock was flexing.
Yup.
It was
Or
like,
the eagle that's like throwing things around.
Yeah. Just give me a chippy. Seagulls grabbing the guy's chips.
They're so dumb. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
He does snakes too.
I
He does
know.
all kinds of shit.
He does objects, which is one of my favorite things. Like just things
Turkeys
that
attacking
should not-
cops.
Yes.
Dude, turkeys are mean.
Yeah.
I understand why they get gobbled up every year.
Look at
What
all
an
those
asshole.
chickens. Oh wait, those are geese.
That's my favorite meme.
I've got that sticker on my computer.
Get all those chickens. She's so
My
cute.
buddy's got a T-shirt that he got from some Canadian TikToker guy who has he's got the Canada goose with a knife in its mouth.
Oh, that's right. That one always reminds me of my mom because she was one of those kids that got attacked by a goose.
Oh yeah, I've been
yeah.
attacked by them many
So-
times.
And my grandma's one of the people that collects those precious moments. So the one that she has one for all of her kids, all the grandkids, and so that's the one from my mom is the little goose girl.
Just running.
Yeah,
Holy
just
shit! Wait a second.
no, and that's the funniest part is the little precious moments goose girl is they're kind of just looking at each other and it's super sweet and it's like the goose is her friend, but in reality this thing was trying to bite my mom and she was terrified.
It's trying to eat her.
I just realized we've gone right past the hour.
Sure
But
have.
still we got everything that I wanted in an hour, so
Well, there you go. Well, that's awesome.
we're
That's
good.
good. That's the goal.
Yeah, and
But
for
we are
those
going to do an
that,
after party.
Yeah, and for those that are hanging out, I can play that game.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
sure.
We want to
Um,
play a game.
You get 3 minutes.
I was thinking more of the War Games movie. Would you like to play a game?
Oh my gosh, I haven't seen that forever.
It's a good
Me,
one.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yet? Oh my gosh. Fix that.
All right.
Especially now.
Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for
My
joining
game
Mikey and me and sharing your stuff with us. That was great for you to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said, there's a lot on Mormonism itself. If anyone reaches out to me, I've got tons of links that I could just send them to for people who have explained it better than I possibly can. It's a fascinating. Now that I'm out of it, it's really fun to learn about it, like especially historically.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And if you do want to do that, there's a link to Stephanie's Facebook. You can send her a message through Facebook and she can help you out there. We are going to do an after party, guys. So if you want to be involved, let us know and we'll get a link to you through multiple different ways. Email, Twitter, Facebook, it don't matter. Just let us know where it's
Raven,
from.
owl.
Raven, yeah. Carrier pigeon. Oh wait, no, they're extinct.
Are those Eastern or are those African or European swallows?
Those are swallows. Oh, I don't know that. Well, don't even start that. All right. Yeah. So thank you guys out there in the chat, over here on YouTube and over on Twitch as well. I guess we're here on Twitch too. So thanks
We're
everyone for hanging
here.
out and watching. Great to have you here. You get to participate with you. All the patrons and members, thank you so much for all you do for the show. And if you'd like to help support the show and become either one of those, there are ways to do so, also linked below. If you dig the tunes, there's links to both Mikey and mine. SoundCloud's down below. You can check out all the stuff that we do.
Word.
All right. And until then, guys, like I always say at the end of the interview part, like the late great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.